Mr. Murali.
The Civil Defence Force plays a crucial role in ensuring the safety of Singaporeans and residents. This comes with great sacrifice for SCDF officers who put themselves at risk constantly, and they deserve our nation's appreciation and gratitude. One just need only to recall the Pillai bushing fire, which happened in March this year. The massive fire required the deployment of more than 100 personnel. Thanks to the hard work of our SCDF officers, the fire did not spread to 2 nearby oil tanks, which would have made the situation far worse. What was particularly etched in the minds of many appreciative Singaporeans was a photograph published in many news portals of our fatigued firefighters, many of them NS men, drenched in perspiration because of the extreme heat, taking rest in between their duties. The bill makes changes to the Civil Defence Act to give explicit powers to SCDF officers for peacetime civil defence operations and, as stated by the Honourable Minister, to enhance the SCDF's operational response and effectiveness. These are necessary to allow the SCDF to take necessary and timely actions in day-to-day operations, in particular to prevent the escalation of an emergency. In connection with this, the bill proposes that the powers given to SCDF officers must be exercised in good faith and reasonable care, and if so, the SCDF officers will not be personally liable for any act or omission carried out in the execution of such powers. This protection from personal liability presently applies instead of civil defence emergencies situations, but now will be extended to peacetime situations. This is a recognition of the dangerous situations that SCDF officers face even in peacetime. I would like to make a clarification. While liability against individual SCDF officers in such circumstances are excluded, may I ask whether it's meant to exclude institutional liability of the SCDF? Let me elaborate. There may be cases of institutional negligence leading to death. For example, in a 2000 English case, a pregnant woman had suffered serious asthma attack at home, and the visiting GP made an emergency call for an ambulance, which took 40 minutes to arrive. The woman suffered a miscarriage and brain damage. The ambulance service was found negligent for its unreasonable delay in arriving to the victim's aid. Such cases, by and large, are the exception rather than the norm. As under the common law, there must be clear evidence of professional negligence by the emergency services crew who need to perform sometimes in exacting conditions. In that English case, the court focused on the fact that whilst the ambulance service accepted the call to respond, it failed to explain why it had taken 34 minutes to travel 10 kilometers, barely 18 kilometers per hour, and why the ambulance logbook has been deliberately falsified to show a travel time of about 9 minutes. It must be also borne in mind that in Singapore, hospitals and doctors are not immune to claims against them in respect of the medical care they provide. I understand the rationale for protecting SCDF officers from personal liability so long as they act in good faith and act reasonably. May I please clarify whether the proposed amendments in the bill is also meant to prevent victims from seeking redress against the SCDF as an institution? If so, may I please ask what's the rationale for it? The Act presently allows the SCDF to direct any person to render assistance to save life in immediate damage during a state of emergency. Apart from this, I wonder whether we should give a power to the SCDF to instruct members of the public to provide cooperation to handle emergency situations even in peacetime. Under the common law, there is no general duty to come to the rescue of another, and therefore generally a person cannot be held liable for doing nothing while another person is in peril. In contrast, if a person decides to come to a rescue of another, the Good Samaritan is said to have assumed a duty of care and can become liable if his action makes the situation worse, such as injuries caused by a reckless rescue attempt. I filed a parliamentary question last month on whether notices to guide the public on the use of AEDs could be installed in public locations to guide members of public who have not received training on the use of AEDs. The Honourable Minister in his answer informed that a new educational sticker with clear step-by-step instructions on how to handle suspected cardiac arrest cases will be affixed to the bottom left of every AED cabinet installed in HDB blocks by July 2019. How do we protect such people who step in to help in good faith? By providing protection to them, we may encourage more people to use AEDs, fire extinguishers, and go some way to achieve the vision of a nation of lifesavers that the Honourable Member, Mr. Christopher D'Souza, mentioned in his speech. Finally, Section 115, subsection 2 of the Act is proposed to be amended to allow the Minister to make regulations to, and I quote, prescribe anything which may be prescribed, unquote. What is the thinking behind this? The amendment is so wide that it's as general as Section 115, subsection 1, which already states that the Minister may make regulations for carrying out or giving effect to the provisions of this Act. Is this amendment really necessary? In conclusion, I applaud the good and hard work of SCDF. I support the bill, but I would welcome the clarification of the 3 points I raised from the Honourable Minister. Thank you.